Oh, what's up? But you want a tattoo, right? But everyone around you saying, nope, you can't get that. It's against your Christian religion, right? Or your boss is like, no way, Jose. You ain't going to get another job after this. I'm here to tell you, they might be wrong, they might be right. We're going to talk about that. Is it okay getting a tattoo or not? Stay tuned and find out. What is up, everybody? So welcome to the channel. So here at SuperHuman Revolution, we're going to be talking about giving you advice and information how to be the best version of yourself, the best superhuman you could be. If you like that, if that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, share, all that good stuff. But without further ado, let's get into talk about tattoos. Alright, so first and foremost, we're going to talk about it, get it out of the way real quick. Tattoos in regards to your job. So neck tattoos, face tattoos, hand, nothing. I would not suggest if you're in the general, if you're doing like you're just straight content creation, YouTube, that kind of stuff. If you're just maybe you have an Instagram following and you're doing tattoo stuff, or maybe your main job isn't going out in the business world and getting jobs that way, then don't even think about this. But if you're going to a normal college or a high school even, think about getting tattoos, I would not get them. If you put on, whether you're a guy or girl, whether you put on a button-up long sleeve shirt, if that shirt doesn't cover it, don't get that tattoo. Don't get that tattoo. But now the biggest thing that we talk about for tattoos is it against my religion? And that's the biggest thing if you're at any denomination of Christianity. And so the biggest verse, we're going to talk about several verses here, but one of the biggest ones is Leviticus chapter 19 verse 28. So I got my handy dandy Bible right here. So we're going to take a look at these verses real quick and run through them and then see does this still pertain, because a lot of things you got to talk about, you got to look at the Bible, is you have to look at the context. You can't just take one verse and be like, boom, immediate meaning right there. You got to look at context. You got to look at what's being talked about at that time. So right here we have Leviticus chapter 19 verse 28. So it says, do not lacerate your bodies for the dead and do not tattoo yourselves. Okay, so right there it says that. This is the New American Bible. Now if I look at the NIV Bible, it says, do not cut your bodies for the dead or put tattoo marks on yourself. I am the Lord. Now that's pretty cut and dry, right? It says, we can't, no tattoos, specifically it says tattoos. But if you look at translations, the word tattoo wasn't interpreted into the English language and interpreted from Hebrew until the 1700s. And so the literal translation from the original text of Leviticus translates to this: and the cutting for the dead you will not make in your flesh, and writing marks you will not make on you. I am the Lord. And so the word refers to inscribing or engraving, that writing into your flesh. And that doesn't say specifically tattooing, because tattooing didn't come a thing how we know it till much later. And now if we just look a couple verses before this main verse of verse 28, we look at this. It says, verse 27, do not clip your hair at the temples, nor trim the edges of your beard. Now obviously the edges are trimmed, and the hair at my temples is cut. So what does that tell you? So again, context. You got to look at the context. And so back then, that was the laws that they had because of how they wanted to be living for the Israelites. And now obviously people are not running around with huge beards and really long hair. That's just the culture we live in. Now, in addition, another verse past Leviticus is another verse that some people talk about, not the biggest thing you talk about, but if you do have a lot of people who are very devout in the faith, they will bring this verse up, and it is the verse of 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19, and it says this: do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God, and that you are not your own? So obviously it's just saying that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, do not defile it. But again, context, you got to look at it. That whole chapter right at the beginning, it says sexual immorality. This little section of verses is talking about. So specifically only talking about immoral acts, sexual acts out of marriage. But of course we must treat our bodies in a manner of purity and chastity, not just in sexual nature, but that we need to glorify God with whatever we do. And so that's going to take us to our next point. Okay, so now past those couple of verses that we talked about, first Now we can get through the reasoning behind your tattoo and what it is and what its purpose is and what it means to you, all that kind of stuff. So the first thing is your motive. Why are you getting this in the first place? We're going to look at another verse real quick. This verse is Ephesians chapter 6 verse 1 through 3, and it says this: do not do it in rebellion to your parents. Anything you do in rebellion of your parents is a huge sin. It's one of the 10 commandments. Honor your father and mother. So if you're doing it to be rebellious to your parents, boom, red flag, don't do it, bad decision. Now back to 1 Corinthians, it's going to be chapter 10 verse 31, that anything we should be doing is to glorify God, and that's it. So again, make sure that tattoo is glorifying God in some way, and don't try to spin it and do this whole different thing. And with that, are you drawing attention to yourself or to God? Okay, so are you being immodest? Are you trying to gain attention for yourself? Who are you trying to gain attention for? Now I get it, tattoos are an outward expression of who you are inside and blah 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 blah. Okay, that's great, and I'm not knocking that, but you got to make sure, are you glorifying yourself or are you glorifying God? That's the biggest thing when it comes to is it against your religion or not. Because if it's all about bringing attention to yourself, you want people to look at you, you really got to kind of think to yourself and think back, is this something that I really want this, and I want it in this place specifically because I want people to see it, and I want people to ask me about it, I want people to talk to me, I want to have more involvement with people so they can see me because of this tattoo, that's what that's meaning, then it's probably not the best thing to get that tattoo. If it's like a piece of pizza or like a soft drink or the Pepsi sign or something like that, it's probably not glorifying God, and you probably shouldn't getting that tattoo. And then also, I've done some research as well. There's some differencing of opinion and speculation on getting Bible verses tattooed as well. And so, of course, getting a tattoo of a Bible verse or anything religious, if it's a cross, a figure of St. Michael or whatever it is, rosary, whatever it is, that's not the best way to evangelize about the faith. We all know that, right? The best way to evangelize the faith is through your actions and through who you are as a person and how you talk and behave and all that kind of stuff. That's what we promote on this channel. Speaking of which, if you want to be the best version of yourself, the best superhuman version of yourself, click that subscribe button, like, share on this channel, because we're going to give you all sorts of that kind of stuff. But anyways, yeah, so just having a Bible verse isn't reason enough to get the tattoo, and it does glorify God, it glorifies the scriptures, and you're evangelizing and people see that, maybe they ask you about it, things like that. But keep in mind, not just having it is reason enough. Make sure that you just don't have the tattoo of something religious, something that glorifies God, but you're also living it out. What's the point of having it if you're doing this, that, and the other against everything else that you're supposed to believe in? Just keep that in mind. I hope that you guys learned something. One last thing I want to leave you guys off with is one last Bible verse. And so this comes from the book of Revelations, chapter 19, verse 16. And this says, he has a name written on his cloak and on his thigh. He has a name written on his thigh. How would he have a name written on his thigh? Written on his thigh, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. I'm not saying Jesus had a tattoo on his thigh. I'm just reading what they had in here. But that's going to wrap up the video, guys. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Comment down below if you have any more questions, more suggestions about what other videos we should do. Let me know. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Try to be the best version of yourself you can be, the best superhuman you can be in this life. And see you guys next time. Bye.